Vanessa Raymond is an interactive motivational speaker, business image coach, and best-selling author of Killer Confidence, Your Ultimate Guide to Unstoppable Confidence. She is passionate about helping people step into their power of greatness to accomplish higher levels of success in business as well as life. Vanessa's expertise is derived from building a highly successful international performance career and multiple business owner over the past 20 years. Her personal delivery style using personal stories, humor and practical plus achievable action steps engages audience at a whole new level. In today's episode, let us chat with Vanessa to find out the secrets to unstoppable confidence and success. I'm sure you are all excited. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. Friends, I'm your host Navin Samala, just a fellow IT professional with 19 years of industry experience on a mission to shape the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And through The Guiding Voice, we help and enable successful leaders share their knowledge and wisdom with the world so that our audience will acquire more knowledge per every minute by tuning into our podcast than any other podcast in this space. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm super excited to have Vanessa part of the Guiding Voice journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Vanessa, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice and super thrilled to have you part of today's conversation.
Thank you so much, Naveen. Thanks for having me today.
Here, let's get started without further ado. Vanessa, request you to briefly share your career journey and especially emphasize on top 3 things that have helped you to be successful in your professional life.
So my journey was multifold, as I believe a lot of people have different chapters in their lives. So did I. I started out as a performer, as you said in the beginning. From very young, my dream was to be on stage. I grew up dancing, singing, and acting. And I proceeded to go to college and be a musical theater major. So I performed around the world, on stages around the world for about 15 years, after which I decided to pursue a career in fitness. So, the fitness industry was a natural progression for me from being a dancer my whole life. So I became Pilates instructor, yoga instructor, personal trainer, etc., etc. But I also had a certification in massage therapy, and I was also a esthetician. So with that said, through my life, I've gone through all these different stages and been involved in all these different industries. As a result of everything that I've learned through the years, I really, really have found my passion now. The thing that I love doing most is helping entrepreneurs, speakers, and leaders find their inner confidence so that they can be the best version of themselves and be more successful in business. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, how can we expect our audience or our clients or our target market to believe in us and to invest in us and what we have to offer? So, going from audition to audition through my life, I have some really fun stories, interesting stories, how we have to learn that we have to take accountability for who we are, and we have to stand up and show up and be that person that is out there to serve others and help others, as opposed to, ooh, what are people thinking of me? What am I not doing right? What am I not good at? We should flip that around and make sure we show up in a way that we can serve best. And that is with confidence and with belief in ourselves and what we have to offer. Yes. And so, you were asking about the 3 things that helped me most. Sorry, I just remembered. So I really think through, especially in the performance career, Naveen, as a dancer, as a performer, and any of you out there that can associate with that as far as being an athlete or a musician or anything that you've pursued in your life. Tenacity, I think, is so huge. It teaches us discipline, self-discipline, because as entrepreneurs, we don't have, and it actually doesn't matter where in the workplace you are, you have to take accountability for yourself. So self-discipline and really paying attention to what needs to be done and doing it. And then, confidence in myself, confidence, learning to believe in myself and understanding what I have to offer. So I'd say tenacity and self-discipline, and then showing up.
Awesome. I think, those are real great attributes, and thank you for sharing with us. Now let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about this unstoppable confidence. So, what is unstoppable confidence in your opinion?
Well, Naveen, the truth is nobody is 100% confident all the time at everything, right? That's just the way it is. Whenever we start something new, we feel less confident because we got to learn. So for me, unstoppable confidence means that we understand no matter what, we are going to make it through to the other side. No matter what, matter how insecure or unconfident we feel right now, we have the ability to grow and learn and keep going. So I share some very practical tools and principles that my clients and audiences can use to build their confidence. There are ways. Confidence is like a muscle. You have to practice it. You have to cultivate it. And once you start gaining confidence in one area of your life, it becomes easier to gain confidence in other areas of your life. And it's all about celebrating your wins, stacking the small wins, understanding that every little thing that we keep ourselves accountable to and we achieve, we need to celebrate. The thing that I am very passionate about is having my people understand how powerful our nonverbal communication is within. So I really feel like our interactions with other people and the way we approach it can help us build our confidence. Unstoppable confidence is really that place where you know you're not going to always be 100% confident in everything, but that you can achieve that confidence through keeping going.
Now let's flip the coin and talk about why people lack confidence.
Yeah, so this can come from multiple sources, right? It can come from outside sources, but it can also come from our own inner voice. We put really high standards to ourselves. And I think it's very important that we also understand that other people do not necessarily see us the way we see ourselves. So for us to become really self aware, but in an affirming way and not be overly self critical is a very, very important. It's so important because we tend to be really, really self critical. We have that little voice in the back of our head talking to us, asking the negative questions. And so if we are not deliberate and we are not self aware, we do not understand what those voices are and we can't stop them, we can't change them. Also, like I said, from outside sources, I can tell you a quick little story if it's okay with you. I went to an audition once. It was a gig that I really, really wanted. I danced. I went to this audition and felt great. I felt like I did a fantastic job. You know, you go to the audition and then they send you home and you wait for the phone call. So I was waiting for the phone call, waiting for the phone call. And finally, the phone rang and I picked it up and I was like, hello, this is Vanessa. And I'll share with you what the director on the other side of the phone said to me. And these were his words. He said, Vanessa, you danced circles around the other girls, but you got to get rid of those thighs, right? What do you do with that? So sometimes people can be heartless. They have their own ideas of, but my point is, it can be subjective when it comes from other people. We need to understand, and that's why it's so important to me that people understand their own power and learn to step into their own power, because sometimes people can say hurtful things. We get feedback from other people, from family members, from bosses, employees, employers. But it's important to understand that usually when people have their opinions, that's all that is their opinion. There's sometimes truth in it, sometimes there isn't. But for us, it's important to stand by our beliefs and live our lives. But yes, people, their confidence get damaged on a daily basis through different things. But a lot of the time it's self-inflicted. So we need to start listening to that inner voice and start changing that narrative in our mind.
So we have to positively affirm and feed positive things, not worrying about what others are thinking. That's my observation, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Perfect. Now let's move to the next one. I've gone through a couple of your talks and all, and you strongly say that the level of confidence can dictate our success in life, business, and relationship. Can you explain it to our audience as well?
Yes, Naveen. And that comes back to what I said about the energy we put out there that is what we attract back to us. So, what frequency are you living on? And so, our success in life, our success in business, our success in our relationships really, really can be affected by the way we perceive ourselves, because other people, they feed off of the energy we give off. And if we are highly insecure, other people feel that and they feel uncomfortable in our presence. It's not something that we do on purpose. I don't know if you've ever heard of the 7-Eleven rule, right? So the 7-Eleven rule says, and this is about first impressions. So how confident we are can influence who the people are that we end up marrying, having as our doctor, having as our lawyer, having as a boss, having as our clients, right? So the 7-Eleven rule says within the first 7 seconds of someone coming into your presence, they've already made 11 decisions about you. Wow. That can be a scary thought. However, this is all subconscious. This is not us walking and saying, okay, I'm going to make 11 decisions about this person. But the point is that the first impressions that we make, the way we show up in the world and in the workplace or at a first date, whatever it may be, is very definitely going to determine whether we're going to communicate or associate with that other person. And other people respond to us according to how we make them feel. So we are really in charge and in control of our communication with others. And communication is everything when it comes to success. Also, self-belief. So when you have that confidence, when you have that self-belief, when you show up on a frequency that is high, you make other feel more confident. You empower others and they want to be associated with you and communicate with you and be in your presence and do business with you, create relationships with you, etc., etc. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Going back to your very first answer related to the top three things that helped you to grow professionally, right? You mentioned about showing up, right? The power to take first step and all. How to show up to win? Like, can you talk about it?
Yes, I always say 50% of the battle is won if you just show up. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, but again, doesn't matter where in the world you fit in, what your role in the world is. If we are the best kept secret, we can't serve others to the fullest. In other words, you want to be visible. You want to make sure you are where you need to be when you need to be. Do not make excuses for not showing up. For instance, Naveen, I was like, oh, it's early. I don't know, maybe we should reschedule. And I was like, no, I need to practice what I preach. I say, show up no matter what. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm here. Right. So, really, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to be confident, if you're going to stand up in your life and do good things, you need to show up. You need to be there. And then how you show up is also important. Show up with enthusiasm, show up with positive attitude, show up with confidence.
Amazing. And yeah, again, I need to appreciate your passion to wake up so early and making it to it. In fact, I didn't realize you are from PSG zone or something. All right.
It's all good.
But anyways, finally, we are doing it.
We are here.
Yeah, absolutely. And next, let's talk about stepping into the power.
Yes, this is a subject matter I'm very passionate about because I myself, it took me time to figure out who I am, where I need to be in the world, what it is I stand up for. And I think we all tend to underestimate ourselves and how much we are capable of and how powerful we are as human beings. I think I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier that we are the instigators of our lives. We have the power to create our lives and our circumstances. Yes, sure, there are certain things in life that we can't control. But the thing we can control is how we show up, who we are, how we interact, and what our attitude is every day. The mind is so powerful. We literally have the ability to create things in our lives with our minds. And once we understand that and we step into that and we start utilizing that, we really, really have the power to create that dream life that we all desire, that thing we want. Yes, it could take time. It could take a year, it could take 10 years, it could take 20 years. But the point is, if we don't understand how to step into our power and how to own that, we're never going to get there. And the other thing I'm very passionate about is I talk a lot about posture and body language, how you use your body, because we actually have the ability to change our mental emotional state by adjusting the way we move around in the world physically, right? Our bodies are miracles, and we create hormones every day, all day, and our hormones dictate our mental emotional state. And there's been studies done around it. I mean, I can talk about this for hours, but I'm going to stop by saying, watch how you show up, watch how you posture yourself, watch how you stand. Are you empowering yourself, or are you disempowering yourself?
I really love this statement. Are you empowering yourself or not? So profound. I think it speaks volume, and in fact, definitely it will have a lot of influence on us. And thank you for sharing such a wonderful message. Now, let's briefly talk about your book, Killer Confidence, your ultimate guide to unstoppable confidence, and what can readers expect from it. Of course, I'm going to publish the link to the book in the show notes, but you can briefly talk about it.
Thank you, Naveen. Yes, my book. That was a passion project, something I meant to do for years. And finally, I sat down and I wrote the book. So, the book, I really wanted it to be an easy read. I say it's like an airplane book. You can probably read the whole book while you're on an airplane. It's not super thick, and it's not like super, like, has huge terms and things. What I wanted to do was share my stories of my career and then give practical tips and tools along with the stories to help my audience build confidence. And that's it in a nutshell. I literally went through my journey. I told the stories that really affected me as a human being, affected my confidence, and then how I got through that to the other side. And then I shared the tips and tools in this book. It's a very practical guide. It's actually, it says it's a guide. It's almost like a little manual. It has stories, and then it has tips and tools for you to grow your confidence and step into your power, all the things we were just talking about.
Seems to be an exciting read, especially if you can connect to your own stories and all. Yeah, I'm sure it's a good book. All right. So thank you so much for talking about your book as well. And let us spice up this episode. What do you say, Vanessa?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me fire the first bullet out of the quick rapid fire round. Can you share your one strength and one weakness?
I would say I am kind and compassionate, and I can be a little bit scattered at times.
Mm-hmm. All right, makes sense. And let's move on to the next one. A question that you often ask other leaders.
I would probably ask, what is your number one value in leadership?
Wow, so profound. Moving on to the next one. A recent mistake that you made.
Well, Naveen, I make mistakes all the time. It's kind of tricky, that one. But I do have something to say. There is, I'm going to change the title of my book. It's going to go from Killer Confidence to Power Confidence. I don't know that it was a mistake. It's a choice more so. But I think it's an important thing to keep going no matter whether we make mistakes, and just correct along the way.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on to the next one. Share something that you have learned from a child.
Well, Naveen, I have an 8-year-old, and I think dreaming would be it. The importance of keeping dreaming, and as adults, we forget to dream sometimes.
So for me, my mantra is dream big and chase.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
All right. Great rapid fire so far. And I would like to fire the last bullet. What will be your fantasy gadget or an electronic gadget or technology that you would like to see or invent yourself?
Well, when people always ask me what's the superpower you want, I always said I want to be able to teleport. So if someone could create a gadget that can teleport me immediately, just kind of like in Star Trek, that would be the electronic thing I would want.
I always come across this as a Doraemon door, right? In case if you happen to watch those cartoons and all.
Yeah,
came out
exactly.
of the door and you are teleported. Yeah, definitely. I think this is something most of my guests are expecting, and probably somebody should pick this as a startup idea and start working on it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And one of the reasons, I'll tell you one of the reasons that's something I want to do is I'm originally from South Africa and my family is there. And if I could just teleport instead of have to take a 24-hour flight, that would be awesome.
I get it. I get it. All right. So that was wonderful rapid fire round. And now let's flip back to the mainstream. And before I let you go, one final question for today's conversation, Vanessa. What will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers or lives? You can pick either of them.
Right. Blaze your own trail. Be your own person. Don't always listen to others. Be the odd one out. And just keep showing up no matter what.
Awesome. Be the odd one out. Super.
Stand out in the crowd, you know.
That's so powerful. And I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it. And this was great talking to you, Vanessa. And thank you so much once again for being part of the Guiding Voice journey. Namaste.
Thank you so much,
All
Naveen.
right.
Really appreciate it and had a wonderful time.
Yeah, same here. So pleasure to have you here, Vanessa. All right, so folks, before we move into the trivia section, here is a request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to the Guiding Voice, request you to subscribe from the app where you have tuned in from. And also, if you have loved this conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the Guiding Voice. Thank you so much in advance. Now, let's jump into the trivia segment. Today's trivia is about self-esteem. Because we spoke a lot about boosting the confidence, how to show up. Vanessa has shared some wonderful, wonderful insights. Now let's talk a bit about self-esteem. Like, what this self-esteem is all about. Self-esteem is actually dictated by genes and environment. And as per a research which has been happening for quite a long time, for decades there had been a raging debate on how self-esteem is developed. And some researchers believe that it depends on the genes, and some believe that it depends on the environment you are born in. But in 2011, we got a lot more clarity on this subject matter. And a study in that year, 2011, found that there are specific genes that influence our confidence as well as self-esteem. So for most people, genes may influence their level of self-esteem. Remember, may influence. And however, the effect that your upbringing had on you cannot be ignored, because the environment that you have been exposed to since your childhood also plays a huge role in determining the kind of self-esteem you have. All right, so likewise there are so many different aspects that actually lead to the higher levels of self-esteem and confidence levels, and I'm really keen to understand what are some things that are working well to boost your confidence. And you may leave them in the show in the comments, or probably shoot me a note on email, theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Thank you so much in advance, and that's all for today, guys. And before I let you go, one final request. In case if you have any topic recommendations or speaker suggestions, do reach out to me through social media or email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. All right, so I'm your host Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional, but on a mission to shape the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and see you all in the next episode.